I'm Lynette Johnson, and I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on how you can make communion bread at home. The nice thing about this recipe is that it takes very simple ingredients and it's very quick and easy to make. So the 4 ingredients that you're going to need are flour, a type of oil, water, and salt. Now the great thing about this recipe is that it's very easy to adapt, whether you need just a small amount for a small family or you're making it for the entire church. The key to remember about this recipe is the 3-to-1-1 ratio. So it's 3 parts flour to 1 part oil and 1 part water. In my case, I have a small family. I'm just going to make a small amount. I'm going to do it by the tablespoon so that it will end up making 2 small loaves or cakes of communion bread. So we start with the flour, and we're going to take, as I said, 3-to-1-to-1. So we're going to have 3 tablespoons of flour, just like this, followed by 1 tablespoon of water and 1 tablespoon of oil. While you're mixing all of this up, you're going to have the oven preheating. We're going to preheat the oven to 425. So this is a great recipe that you can do with your kids if you'd like to. Because it's so simple, they'll enjoy making it. And you can always have a little extra math experiment while you're doing it and talk about ratios and multiplication. Because again, if you wanted to make it for a larger group or to make a larger amount, you could just mix it, continue to, through your 3-to-1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes I make it with salt, sometimes I don't. In this case, because I'm doing such a small amount, I just do a small little dash. Obviously, you would put in a little more salt to taste, depending on how much you were making. The other nice thing about this recipe is that it's very adaptable for food allergies or sensitivities. So of course, feel free to try it with different flours or different oils depending on what you have on hand. I've made it before with olive oil. You can make it with whole wheat flour, almond flour, whatever you need for your food sensitivities. When you get done, you're going to have just a small ball of dough. And in this case, as I said, this is going to make 2 small cakes. So I take a little cooking spray, put it right here on my pan. I like to put a little flour on as well. Makes it a little easier to roll it out. You're going to divide your dough into 2 small pieces. Doesn't have to be even, just kind of 2 small balls. Put it on the tray. Now in this case, you're going to go ahead and you're going to roll it out. I'm just going to roll it out very gently. If your kitchen doesn't come equipped with a rolling pin, and I know not everybody has one, not a problem. You can use a glass or even a coffee mug. Just roll it on its side and roll the bread out nice and thin. You're going to want to make it, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. Not too thick, because the thicker it is, the longer it's going to take to cook. And the harder that you're going to have a hard time making sure that the edges don't crisp while the center doesn't bake. So you're just going to kind of roll it out to maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So you go ahead and you'll take your fork and you'll score it, as they say, which helps to keep it from bubbling. Like I said, by now your oven is preheated to 425. You're going to go ahead and stick it in the oven. We're going to bake it for 8 to 10 minutes, depending on your oven temperature and how thick you've rolled it out. You may need to bake it a little bit longer. You don't want the dough to end up doughy on the inside and too crisp on the edges. So just go ahead and stick it in. And then, when you're done, you have communion bread that looks like this. You can see I got a little thin on the edges. It's a little bit crispy, but it's not doughy on the inside. The nice thing about this bread is you can make it in advance. It will freeze very well, or you can store it in an airtight container on your kitchen counter. So either way, it works really well, and you will have plenty of communion bread when you go to celebrate the Lord's Supper on Sunday.